It was the 19th of May 2021 in Amsterdam. A typical gloomy day that for most people went like any other. Little did they know was that for some, their day would take an abrupt turn for the worse. All hell broke loose in Amsterdam North. Guns, masked men, shootouts, fast cars, high-speed police chases, and 65 million worth of loot. What was usually a quiet and calm area turned into something straight out of a movie. It all began at the start of the afternoon when two black Audi A6s and a black Porsche Cayenne arrived to the scene, and 9 masked men with automatic rifles jumped out of their cars. The Porsche backed up and reversed into the door. Why, you may ask? Well, a few minutes earlier, a Brink's truck entered that same exact door. The door was the main entrance to the Schöne precious metal facility. Schöne Precious Metals is one of the 3 oldest gold trading companies in the world, once started by Gerrit Schöne back in 1739. The Brink's truck that had just entered the facility carried over 67 million euros in precious metals, and that's exactly what the robbers were there for. The first few robbers who went in immediately aimed their automatic rifles at the Brink's and Schöne employees that were present in the facility. They demanded them to lay on the ground and tied their hands together as well as their feet. Lastly, they put masks over their heads, so none of them could see a thing. Whilst there was mayhem inside the building, accomplice Abdi Karim LG fired his weapon outside the building. He did so to warn people not to interfere and stay away. This would later prove to be a big mistake. Bystanders on the streets feared for their life, and residents hid in their houses. In less than 3 minutes, the robbers managed to steal a total of 22 boxes and smaller packages containing platinum, gold bars, alongside many other precious metals. All the loot was divided and loaded into the 3 cars to decrease the risk of having no loot at all, in case the car with everything in it got busted. Thus far, the mission went exactly according to plan. These men were professionals, not rookies. They knew exactly what they were doing and seemingly planned every single detail of the robbery. Police reports later stated that the robbers had been scoping out the building for months to plan their heist, and even made a detailed video with footage from a drone. Schöne Precious Metals was moving their operations abroad slowly but surely, making this location in Amsterdam North obsolete. The robbers somehow knew this, and knew this would be their last chance to strike. With the loot secured, it was time to flee the scene, and here is where it gets absolutely reckless. Whilst the robbers were loading up the cars, the first police units were instructed to the scene. Right as the robbers were driving away, they noticed the first police cars chasing them. It turned violent. Without any hesitation, some of the robbers decided to fire their AKs at the police cars chasing them. The police decided to fire back, but mind you, this all happened in the afternoon in busy Amsterdam. Residents that were out and about living their life suddenly found themselves in a very dangerous situation. These guys did not seem to care though. They focused on their loot and wanted to protect it at all costs. As the chase went on, the robbers also threw spikes at the chasing police cars in the hopes of ruining their tires, so they would have to stop chasing them. Bullets kept being fired back and forth between the robbers and the police officers. It was a miracle that no one had got injured yet, especially because it was later revealed that the robbers used old rifles with rusty barrels. These rusty barrels caused the bullets to come out at unpredictable angles, making it harder to aim. The robbers exited Amsterdam at very high speeds and arrived in Broek in Waterland, a small village outside of Amsterdam. Before the heist took place, they had parked other getaway vehicles here that were a bit less eye-catching than fast Porsches and Audis. They transferred the loot to the new getaway vehicles, one of which, a Renault Megane, and quickly set the Porsche and Audi on fire. If you paid close attention, you might remember that they were with 3 cars. So where did the 3rd car go? Well, stick with me, we will get to it. While the Audi and Porsche burned down, the robbers fled away. But their unfamiliarity with the small town of Brook in Waterland and the weather conditions brought them in serious trouble. Because unknowingly they entered a dead end. By the time they realized this, there was already such a big police force in pursuit that they could not turn around and go back in another direction anymore. They were trapped, and they knew it. In a desperate attempt, one of the getaway cars rammed right through the garden of a home, hitting a tree. A mother and daughter that were present in the home could not believe what they saw. Right in front of their windows, a group of masked men dressed in black, equipped with automatic rifles, started exchanging shots with the police. That must have been a very scary sight to see. The mother and daughter later told news reporters that they ran upstairs and hid in their closet. They could still hear the shots going off and were afraid of the men attempting to enter their home. Fortunately, this would not be the case. The group decided to split up. Two of them tried to hide in trash containers which were stood in the garden of a home. The only option the others saw fit was to enter the grass fields surrounding the small neighborhood on foot. At that point, they must have realized that the end was near, but in their desperation, they kept going. As they plowed through the grass fields, they kept exchanging shots with the police. Police officers that were chasing them later told news reporters that they had feared for their lives. Then some of the robbers started to show signs of giving up. They were getting tired. The grass fields in front of them were kilometers long. Police were chasing them on foot, and there was a helicopter that had sight on them. Some of them would not go down without a fight, which ultimately led to one of them being fatally shot in the field. He succumbed to his injuries then and there. His name was Audacious Diawara, 46 years old, from Paris. Diawara wore a bulletproof vest, but he got hit in the left collarbone, exactly where his vest did not protect him. He left behind a 14-year-old son. Karim LG was shot in his leg, but he managed to survive. Back to the third car. This was the only car that managed to escape in all the chaos. Prior to the heist, the robbers had parked a black BMW under a bridge in Diemen as their second getaway vehicle. They unloaded their loot out of the Audi and set it on fire. In the BMW, they drove off towards Rotterdam South. Here is where they were caught on CCTV cameras, and the footage is surprising to say the least. Surveillance cameras showed three men walking near a busy shopping street. They looked just like regular pedestrians, and no one passing them could have imagined what they had been up to just 2 hours ago. The footage showed that they were walking pretty relaxed. One of them still had the exact same hat and shoes on he did during the heist. It did not seem as if they had any urgency to go into hiding. A few hours later, they could be seen calmly driving away in a brand new Golf 8 GTI and a Lamborghini Urus. Both cars are not cheap. Does crime pay? Looking at the CCTV footage, it is just mind-boggling how calm they seemed, as if nothing had happened. It was initially reported by news outlets that there was no loot. The robbery was unsuccessful and the robbers left empty-handed, they said. Looking back, it is not clear whether this was a tactic or that they genuinely did not know, because the robbers absolutely did not leave empty-handed. After hours of investigation, it became clear they stole millions worth of precious metals. The loot was at least 14.5 million euros. The entire Brink's truck carried over 67 million worth of precious metals, so even though they had only taken a quarter of that, it was still a lot of money. It was most likely due to time constraints and the heft of the precious metals that they could not take any more. Still, making 14.5 million euros in 3 minutes is not a bad score. It was later revealed that they stole 80 kilos of platinum worth 2.5 million euros alone, 1.5 kilos of gold dust, a lot of gold bars, and an entire box of golden rings and other little accessories. Despite the heist being very well planned, almost all the robbers have been caught. The majority of them were immediately caught in the grass fields in Broek in Waterland. Out of the 3 guys that managed to flee, one was apprehended later that day in Rotterdam. Another robber caught on the 23rd of December 2022 in Guinea, a West African country. There's only one member of the group that has managed to stay out of the hands of law enforcement till this day. Out of the 14.5 million euros, 4.2 million euro worth of goods is still not found. It isn't sure how much cash the robbers have actually made, as the goods they stole are very hard to sell. As of 2024, all men that were arrested have been charged, with many of them getting 18 years. Some had got 15 years, and one man only got 5 years because his role was not as significant as the others. Such a robbery was unheard of in the Netherlands. For days on end, News outlets all over the world spoke about it, and it will go down as one of the most violent robberies ever in the country. An experienced officer said that what happened on the 19th of May 2021 was the single most impactful event in his 32-year-long career. Nothing even came close. If you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leaving a comment also immensely helps. I hope to see you in the next one.